What is going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. As the title suggests, in this video we are going to be going ahead and getting this 16G turbocharger from the Evo cleaned up, refreshed, and ready to go back in the car. So let's jump right into it. So as you can see here, we do have the stock 16G6 turbo from the Evo 8, and as you can clearly see, it definitely has seen better days. It's certainly crusty, rusty, dirty, and honestly this is actually after having gone through and already kind of cleaned it up a little bit. But let's show you what's wrong with it. So as you can see from the compressor housing, it is looking pretty clean, but I don't know if you can see with my phone light back there is some oil residue in the actual compressor housing. I have gone through before, cleaned up in here, just kind of as much as I could to get rid of any oil residue, but like deep within the compressor housing there definitely still is some that I am going to try to take care of. Obviously you can see here the coolant line for the turbo is super rusty, as is like the banjo bolt, so I'm going to go ahead and try to take these off, clean that up. This guy, for some reason, this side isn't really, I don't know why, like the coolant return isn't super rusty. So this guy right here is going to be the oil return, which is still on the car, and then up top we have the oil feed. So honestly, the turbo is not in super amazing condition. There's no shaft plate. I do believe the internals of the actual cartridge are fine, but I mean, every time I look at it I find something new. This guy right here, this is the actuator arm for the wastegate. For anyone that doesn't really know, this guy right here is an elbow that bolts onto the turbo. This right here is called the boost reference point. So boost pressure that's coming out of the turbo from here will go to the wastegate, and then at a certain PSI, whatever the preload is, it will open the flapper arm to control boost pressure. I just noticed today I don't even have a cotter pin in my arm, and I am eventually going to go back and just calibrate and make sure that the preload for the flapper arm is actually set to what it should be. I asked Senior GPT. He said that the stock preload should be 1.5 to 2 millimeters away from the flapper arm where the pin is, and then from there you'll have to pull it the extra 1.5 to 2 millimeters to get it over, and then that should be, I believe it's a stock 12 psi on the actual flapper arm before it starts to open. That is just so that when you're starting to get in boost, if you don't have enough preload, the flapper arm will actually open prematurely, and then you'll be bleeding off your boost pressure too early, so you won't be hitting targets of what you actually want to be hitting for boost pressure. And in the opposite, if you have too much preload, the flapper arm isn't able to open when it should, and you can boost creep, which will give you tons of boost real fast, then taper off, and you'll be in a leaning out condition, which obviously isn't good for a car to be running too lean. With all that information being said though, let's jump on trying to take off the coolant arm, get that cleaned up, and then we'll try to go through cleaning out the coolant galleys, because honestly, they're not looking super great. Okay, so as you saw from the time lapse, I did have to go ahead and use my M18 impact in order to get the coolant line off of the turbo. I do not like to use impacts, but with it not being bolted down, it's kind of impossible for me to be able to get the leverage to break the tension on the banjo bolt. But with that, we can go ahead and I can show you what we're working with here. So I'm not sure if you can see in, obviously you can see the center cartridge is just like caked in nasty gunk and oil. It actually doesn't look as bad now. I don't know if you can really see, but if you look down in there, it's a kind of crusty, kind of like old, like grimy coolanty. Over time, as the turbo's been out, it obviously has dried out, but I am gonna go ahead and try and go through and clean out that section of the turbo. So we are just gonna go ahead and tape up the oil feed and return line holes where the pipes would mount to, just so that way we don't get any kind of cleaner in the actual oil side of the turbo. But with that, let's go ahead and get cleaning. On a quick side note first, I did kind of just want to show these bolts and how they're looking. You can clearly see that they're obviously really gunked up and caked up with tons of old dried out coolant. So they obviously do need new crush washers on both sides. And yeah, they're just not looking very good. So that's what the inside is probably looking like as well. And so just like that, We have the oil return taped up on the turbo. We have our little pad here that catches all the crap that falls out of it. And what we are going to do is we're going to take, it's just hot water with a tiny bit of dish soap added to it. We're going to send it through here, kind of let it soak for a minute. It obviously is going to come out the other side, so this should fill up with some gunked up coolant type stuff. We're going to do that a few times, and then afterwards, once everything starts running out a little more clear, we'll hit it with some brake clean to try to dry it out, some compressed air, and we'll call that a day. Okay, so honestly, I'm actually very happy with the way that turned out. In the time lapse, you can see I did use hot water with just a little bit of Dawn dish soap in it. It did clean it out. After off camera, I did go back and I ran through with a whole nother quart of just fresh water without any soap in it, just to try to get any of that dish soap residue out of it. But I will say it is looking a lot better. I can try to show you, but it's kind of hard on camera, but I'll give it a shot anyway. Okay, so I don't know if you'll be able to see in there. You can kind of see there, obviously you see on the top left, there is still a little bit of like corrosion and stuff that just comes with time. Obviously it's not a brand new turbocharger, but you can see down there on the other side, it is starting to get a lot cleaner looking, which honestly I'm super excited about, because obviously it's at this point, it's like that worked out well for the STI. So obviously that wasn't great. I checked the STI, it's fine. There's no new scratches or bumps or anything, but obviously that's the struggles of like not having all professional equipment when you're trying to record, is things can fall over. But as I was saying, what was I saying? Right, so it is obviously at this point like a 20-year-old turbo, or even more. I haven't done the math, but it's pretty old. So obviously there's corrosion on the inside. It's not gonna be brand new, but I will say it looks a whole lot better than it was. So what we're gonna do next is I'm gonna go ahead and throw some brake clean through it in order to try to continue just pushing out any debris that might still be there and help to try to dry it out. Obviously brake clean evaporates pretty quickly, so it won't be left behind. When I do go to clean the rest of the turbo, I am gonna go ahead and plug up the coolant galley, I guess you'd call it, just so I can clean around the cartridge without getting any debris into the coolant galley. But I will then take it off later on and just leave it open for the night just to make sure it's nice and air dried. So honestly, I didn't really see a ton of debris, which is nice to know, so I guess it was just kind of a bunch of coolant that I must have not realized was just coolant kind of gunked up in there, but it is looking cleaner now. So I am just going ahead and shooting some brake clean in there, trying to flush anything out. Then I will go over onto the other side and shoot brake clean through that way as well. Honestly though, not much to see. Okay, so I do have my air compressor set up. I have it set to about 30 PSI. You don't want to do much more above that because you obviously don't want to be testing the strength of the seals in there. So I am not even gonna really stick it super far in there, but I am just gonna blow a little bit of compressed air, not a constant flow, just kind of quick bursts. So I'm trying to just kind of blow it down that way so it goes through the channel and then out the other side. I'm gonna flip it over, do the other side. All right, now with that being done, I can keep moving on. Like I said, I am gonna go ahead and clean up the two banjo bolts for the inlet and the outlet for the coolant, screw those in so I don't get any debris in there while I'm going ahead and cleaning the outside of the turbo. But once the nighttime hits, I will take those bolts out so they can dry out and make sure nothing in there rusts. So I'm gonna go ahead, clean those two bolts up, and probably go ahead and clean that one rusty coolant pipe. For some reason it's rusty. Throw it on time lapse and I'll see you guys on the other side of that. so with a lot of off-camera cleaning, I was able to get that one pipe cleaned up as well as the 2 banjo bolts. I do have them reinstalled right now with the crush washers. Obviously, I'm not going to reuse the crush washers, but it's just so that while I'm cleaning the outside of the turbo, I don't get anything in the turbo. But you can take a look real quick. So I did go ahead and just kind of touch this guy up a little bit. This really didn't need any touch up, it was just fine. This guy right here, he's the one that I cleaned up. So it is looking better. It's not 100% brand new, but it's a whole lot less rusty than it was. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead, I stuffed some paper towels in here. I'm gonna put one in here, take these 2 guys off, because like I said, I am gonna have to go through and check the preload on the wastegate actuator, get a cotter pin for it. So I'm gonna take these guys out, move it off to the side, try to get down here and clean the center of the cartridge. So, wish me luck. Okay, so I have gone through, I've been doing a combination of just a lot of brushing, using degreaser, spraying that degreaser then off with brake clean, and then kind of repeating. You did use my drill with an attachment on it, like a wire brush, just very lightly, not even like full trigger, because obviously you don't want to like throw off the balance of the turbo, take too much material off or anything like that, so you just got to be really careful with that. But this is what it looks like now and what we're going to do next. So I mean, you can see, if I can grab the light, you can see it's starting to clean up a little bit in there. It's not quite as gunked up with like dirt and grease. It obviously is still a little bit rusty. There really is no way to get around that. I really won't be able to go ahead. Make sure this doesn't fall on the STI. I really can't get too much better than that because one, I don't have any plugs to plug up any of the holes for the oil or the coolant. 2, it is such close proximity. There's really, I don't have any tools to be able to get in there to get it like any cleaner. And honestly, I don't know that I'd want to take any more material off. So with that, this centerpiece, I'm pretty much gonna leave that for now. I might go through and try to brush it out one more time off camera with a little bit of brake clean just to get any loose debris up. And then what we are gonna do is move on to trying to clean up the V-band for it and then the compressor housing, just try to get it nice and cleaned up, looking nice. And then I guess we'll see after that what the turbo looks like. So sorry for all the time lapse, boring stuff. I'm gonna throw it on another one and just start cleaning the compressor housing. Okay, so I think the last thing we left off was a time lapse of me cleaning the compressor housing. So I did get that done. A couple other things. I just went ahead and did it off camera because honestly, it's really tedious stuff. We don't need to be making this video longer just to make it longer. And it's honestly, I know it's probably pretty boring watching me clean a V-band, but let me go ahead and show you what I've gotten done off camera. So this is it. Here's the cleaned up turbo. I am happy with the results. To go in here, clean up a little bit more, went in through the outlet, cleaned up a little bit more in here, so it really should only leave back there. I don't really know how to get back there. If anyone does in the comments, go ahead, let me know how you would clean the inside of this turbo or the compressor housing without taking it completely apart. After that, pretty much what I did was I did go ahead, take these guys out so I can let this coolant passage kind of dry out overnight. Went ahead, just tried to touch this up. It's really not looking super stellar. It still functions the way it should, which is good. I did go ahead, bolt this back down and check the preload on it. I didn't like measure it or anything, but I mean, it seems like it's maybe about 1 millimeter of play with the flap fully closed. So gonna have to go ahead eventually and check that out for real, like measure it once I get an actual pin for it. Other than that, it's not too much. Went through, cleaned up the V-band on the center part of the turbo, so it is looking nice. Tried to clean up in here as best I could. There's really only so much you can do, like I said, on such an old turbo. It's hard to see, but you know, I mean, it's just rusted out over so many years. It is okay, it still works fine, but that's pretty much what I've gotten done. So I guess that leaves what to do going forward with the turbo. Maybe not necessarily in the next episode, but in the next episode where I address the turbo. Things we do still have to do is, if you look, we do have a bolt that's broken off right here. I have tried drilling it out and using extractor bits. We've seen how that worked out in the past. It obviously didn't, and it broke. So my next idea initially was going to be drill it out, tap it one size bigger threads, and just put a one size bigger bolt, which I believe they're M10s for the stock bolts, and so I'd be going up to an M12. The only other option would be to do either a Heli-Coil or a Time-Sert. If I am going to go ahead and do those, for anyone that doesn't know, I think I've said it in the past, a Heli-Coil basically is a cylinder that's threaded on both sides. The outside is the new sized hole that you're going to be screwing into, and then the inside threads are the original bolt that would be there. The only difference is Time-Serts use specialty tools that are like precision made to make it fit completely perfect in there, and then there's an expanding tool that you use to expand the threads so that it fits completely perfectly. Heli-Coils, they work fine, but Heli-Coils is more like a band-aid, where a Time-Sert is actually like the real way to fix it. So I don't have any of the tools for a Time-Sert, so I'm not sure whether I'm going to go ahead and do that or just go one size bigger, but I'm sure in a video coming up we will figure that out. And then in that video I'll probably also address the preload on the wastegate actuator arm, and from there, really, once that's all fixed, I guess we can think about bolting the manifold back on and trying to get this turbo back in the car, which would be a huge step in getting the Evo finished. But having said that, that's pretty much all I got. So if you are liking the content, if you enjoy watching me struggle with cleaning a really old turbo, please make sure you do go ahead and subscribe, hit that like button, and seriously, let me know down below if anybody knows how you could clean the inside of a compressor housing without actually taking the turbo apart, because I don't want to unbalance anything. Drop it down below, let me know if you've made it this far. Once again, if you like the content, go ahead and subscribe. Love you guys, peace out, keep wrenching.